The El Paso County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard will present the colors.
I want to thank you for attending our first annual Veteran of the Year Award ceremony.
Mark time. Mark.
El Paso County is home to over 98,000 veterans
Left. Hit. Present. Arms.
who have honorably served our country while protecting our freedoms. This led to us creating this beautiful Veterans Monument to honor our many veterans for their service. If you would like to honor a veteran, please see one of our Veteran Services staff to purchase a paver. We are also have established the Veteran of the Year Award because we believe our veterans deserve special recognition for their exemplary military service, outstanding community service, and their support for our active military and federal veterans. We greatly appreciate the veterans in our country and the sacrifices that they've made, whether it meant moving themselves and their families within the continental United States or serving abroad. Many of our military returned and made El Paso County their home. Our veterans are involved in every aspect of our county. They run small businesses, serve in elective office, work in local government, raise their families, and volunteer to make our community a better place. We are pleased to be joined by a number of dignitaries today, and please hold your applause until everyone is introduced. We've got President Pro Tem Mark Waller, Commissioner Stan Vanderwerth, it's Commissioner Peggy Littleton, Commissioner Lojinos Gonzalez Jr., our District Attorney, Dan May, former County Commissioner Sally Clark, Henry Yankowski, our County Administrator, and Roger Lovell, Regional Building Office Official, Pikes Peak Regional Building Department. We also have Jim Tackett, Senior Veterans Liaison with Congressman Doug Lamborn's office, Bob Koenig from Peterson Air Force Base, United States Air Force Academy Retirees Active Office, and Bob McCaughlin, Executive Director, Mount Carmel Veteran Services, Kate Haddon, Executive Director, Pikes Peak Military Care Network. Please join me in thanking the Broadmoor, Pikes Peak Regional Building Department, and the State of Colorado Division of Veteran Affairs for providing financial support for today's event. Now, Roger, where are you at? He's hiding. Okay, I would like to ask Roger Lovell from Pikes Peak Regional Building Department to say a few words.
Thank you, Commissioner Glenn. It's a true honor to be before you today, and I can't thank the men and women enough who served our great country. Without your service, we wouldn't be here today enjoying this beautiful Colorado day. And as Commissioner Glenn stated, more than 98,000 veterans call El Paso County home, and that's something that I'm very proud to be part of and very proud of our community. I'm honored to act as your building official and thank all those who served and those who are currently serving in El Paso County. Thank you.
Thank you, President Glenn and Roger. At this time, I would like to ask Chip Casso, District 7 Commander for American Legion, Department of Colorado, to say a few words regarding the importance of veterans in our county.
Thank you. I served 20 years in the Army, and the effects of the military service can be profound and lasting. Here's some of the lessons I learned when I transitioned back to civilian life. It's acceptable to use the word okay instead of copy, roger, or worse yet, huh. How much pain you can take is not an accomplishment. Wearing a hat inside is acceptable and you won't be made to do push-ups. And I had to learn to tell time without using the complicated 24-hour clock. Instead, I used the easy civilian system that divides a 24-hour day into 2 separate 12-hour periods, then assigns them an acronym from Latin phrases that translate to before noon and afternoon. The reason men and women join the military is diverse as the people that are in the military. My 2 years as a drill sergeant, I used to ask every one of my new soldiers why they joined the service. Initially, you get a lot of, I joined for the GI benefits or to learn a trade or a skill. As you can imagine, some of them wanted to get away from something in their hometown. Someone wanted to get out of the little cities. Someone wanted to get out of the big cities. Someone were getting away from situations, family, personal, or financial. But all those reasons over the time of their service usually grew from those initial reasons to the reasons of duty to God, country, and family, to include their new family, their soldiers, their brothers and sisters in arms. As a kid, you learn the characteristics of manners, respect, honesty, and sharing from your parents and other peers. Military training refines these values. Manners become honor. Respect becomes professionalism. Honesty into integrity. And sharing into teamwork. Add in the physical and mental strength through stressful situations, emphasizing problem solving, and that you got a person turned into a soldier. Throughout a veteran's active military career, we are guided by creeds, pledges, and oaths that have deep meaning to us soldiers. Some of these examples are, I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I am an American soldier. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never fail my comrades. I will never leave a fallen comrade behind. I will be loyal to those of whom I serve, superiors, peers, and subordinates alike. I will not compromise my integrity, nor my moral courage. These are a veteran's way of life, and that follows them into the civilian life. After leaving the service, I worked throughout the construction industry for others, managing others' businesses, and then I eventually ran my own. But it was just work. I was afforded the opportunity to work back for the military, and I now work on Fort Carson, building new infrastructure for the soldiers and training ranges. It was very fulfilling, but I was still missing one thing. Most of my co-workers weren't veterans, and they had trouble understanding my abruptness and my shortness, and it was just different. And I'm not trying to diminish the friendships that I have with my civilian co-workers, but it was just different from my military life. I still had several military friends, but life had gone on and everybody got busy and we forgot to spend that time together. So I searched out all the veterans organizations, and many are represented here today. I chose the American Legion. The American Legion is committed to mentoring youth, sponsorship of wholesome programs in our communities, advocating patriotism and honor, promoting strong national security, and continued devotion to our fellow service members and veterans. It's easy to get discouraged in life when you witness the brutality of the natural disasters, see the heinous acts of evil of the Vegas gunman, the endless bad news streamed on our media, or even the disgusting actions of false Hollywood heroes. It's these times that veterans can take comfort in their pledges, oaths, and creeds. More people should cherish the words like duty, honor, integrity, respect, loyalty, and selfless service, just like Command Sergeant Major Martinez. And he is a fine example of some of the best of us veterans. So Sergeant Major, I salute you.
We're pleased today to honor Mr. Leo Martinez as the 2017 Veteran of the Year. Leo, would you join us up here, please? It's coming up. Leo served 21 years in the U.S. Army and retired as a Command Sergeant Major for Headquarters Company, 1st Battalion, 8th Infantry Division at Fort Carson. Upon retiring from the military, Leo became involved in the 4th Judicial District Veterans Trauma Court. I was pleased to get to be a part of establishing the Veterans Trauma Court in 2009 as a member of the Colorado State Legislature. The Veterans Trauma Court provides an alternative to incarceration for U.S. military veterans with trauma spectrum disorders who have been charged with lower-level felonies and misdemeanors. With the collaborative efforts of the judicial and law enforcement agencies, eligible veterans are moved from the traditional courtroom into the Veterans Trauma Court. Program participants agree to actively engage in treatment and counseling and to make regular court appearances, and they're very carefully supervised. Leo was the first peer mentor for the Veterans Trauma Court. Leo's duties involve screening potential Veteran Trauma Court participants for the program. Leo is well known for going above and beyond to assist veterans involved with the trauma court. Countless testimonies from veterans credit Leo with guiding them through the judicial process, helping them make life-changing decisions, and maintaining critical family relationships. Dan May, El Paso County District Attorney, is with us here today, and we'd appreciate it if Dan can come up and say a few words regarding Leo's efforts in the trauma court. Dan?
Well, I went to a dermatologist a little while ago, and I'm in the middle of that, and he said, don't do any public appearances or things where you're on camera. He does not know what my job is. Leo's famous for saying in his non-professional, non-clinical opinion, if you're in our Veterans Trauma Court, Leo, in your non-professional, non-clinical opinion, is this a good look on me?
You look awesome.
There we go. We live in the greatest country on this planet. And you look out today, we live in one of the best communities in that country on this planet. And it isn't because of the country itself. It's because of the individuals that we have. We have certain people in every community that make a difference in people's lives, in the community they live in, and quite frankly, in the world that we live in. Leo Martinez is one of those. He's one of those special people that makes a difference for each and every one of us every single day. And he has dedicated his life to this community, to this country. You can see from his time in service. He certainly knows that, the freedoms we have here, the opportunities we have here are not free. He knows what people have given up going around the world, to whether it's Europe, whether it's the deserts, whether it's the jungles, keeping us free so that we can have the opportunities in this country. He also knows, and I'm not the first to say this, that anybody who goes to war, there are no unwounded soldiers who come home. And he realizes that more than most. While you and I are having our second cup of coffee in the morning, Leo's in the jail. And he's going in there looking for people who have those wounds that don't even realize it themselves, that they are wounded soldiers that need help. Our Veterans Trauma Court started in 2009. We took more risks than any veterans court in the country ever had. We were the first to allow felons. We were the first to allow domestic violence. They did a study of our court and compared them to others across the country just a couple of years ago. And what did they find? We had the riskiest court in the country. At the same time, we have the lowest recidivism rate of any court in the country. Our Veterans Court has now been named one of the 5 most successful problem-solving courts, comparing them to drug courts, mental health, any of them, in the entire country. And so they have people coming out here to study it. How does it get there? People like Leo Martinez. He goes out and he finds the individuals who need that help almost every single day. He comes back and he becomes their friend. Soldiers know you can't fake honesty, you can't fake integrity, you can't fake trust, you can't fake love. When they meet him, you can see the first look of him is not a big smiling, happy guy. He's going to come in there and he's going to look you in the eye and he's going to be serious and he's going to be honest and he's going to tell you what you need to hear. Over time in the Veterans Court, they learn to trust him, they learn to love him, and he makes a difference in each individual life. And as he makes a difference in each one of those individuals going forward, it makes a difference in our community. We have better people in our community because of Leo. We have a safer community because of Leo. Quite frankly, we have a safer country because of Leo. Each individual, he changes their lives that goes through that court. He is more trusted than anybody. The whole reason our court works is the mentor program, and he's the mentor. So Leo, I want to thank you for your dedication to this country and your dedication to our community and the Veterans Court. Thank you, sir.
Mr. District Attorney, thank you so much for those kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present El Paso County's 2017 Veteran of the Year, Mr. Leo Martinez. And for those of you that can't see it here, we're lifting it up. We're also going to install this paver in Leo's honor as well, up amongst the other pavers here. Leo, please say a few words.
Sir. Thank you. Thank you all. It's a lot of pages, but I write big. Hey, And I just want to tell you that I am both proud and humbled by this honor. Pride and humility seem to be mutually exclusive, but they're not. I am proud to have been chosen as the first Veteran of the Year for El Paso County, and humbled by the knowledge that I know many, many veterans more deserving than I. So I accept it on behalf of all of the men and women who pay it forward every day, and I pledge to represent them well. I am also sincerely grateful to those who thought enough about me to nominate me. To be recognized by those for whom I have deep and sincere respect and regard is truly a singular honor. Carl asked me if I wanted to say a few words, and when he asked me, I hesitated for about a second and a half, because everybody that knows me knows that I am never at failure for words, as a good infantry command sergeant major should be. But I resolved not to attempt to thank all of you that are deserving of thanks by name, because I understood that there were too many of you, and it wouldn't be practical. And because I knew that I would inadvertently fail to mention someone deserving and risk offending someone I would never wish to offend. Having said that, I do wish to recognize some truly special people. Bunny Blaha. Bunny, where are you? Bunny, what was your rank, ma'am? I forgot. Navy ranks confused the hell out of me. Commander, retired United States Navy, but she clearly has some infantry ancestors in her background. Her tenacity and her dedication are without equal, and she is the most responsible for me standing before you today. She did all the heavy lifting, she did the nominating, and she browbeat a whole bunch of people to provide testimonials. So when I'm done sharing a few thoughts with you this afternoon, if you take exception with what I say, or you don't think I should be up here in the first place, please don't chase me down. Go find Bunny.
Leo, my mom was a WAC in World War II.
Okay, well that answers that part of it, Bunny, okay? I would also like to introduce my children. My daughters Lena, Layla, and Leona, and my son Mark, who couldn't make it today. And so I don't want to embarrass you, beautiful daughters. Just wave so that people know who you are. And put those infernal devices down. I also have one of my 5 beautiful sisters is here from Denver, and one of my 8 wonderful grandchildren, Anthony and his fiance, are with us today. I want you to know that you are my greatest source of pride. You are my comfort and my strength. You keep me grounded and pointed in the right direction always. And I will never be able to adequately express how much I love you and your children. I have 8 grandchildren, and on or about December the 3rd, we will be welcoming my first great-grandson into the world. And I know it's difficult to look at me in my youthful appearance, okay, and believe that I am soon to be a great-grandfather, but I am, and I'm happy. I can't wait. Being the first Veteran of the Year means that for a few moments this old infantryman gets to be in the company of some extremely distinguished and dedicated people. That is way cool. And I want to thank you, Commander Chip. What was your MOS? You were USF? You broke the ground. Following him, it makes things real easy for me, okay? Because his dedication and his strength of timbre in his voice make it easy for me to stand up after him. Thank you. But being the first also means that I have the responsibility to establish precedent, which is also kind of cool but a little bit intimidating. And when I thought of what I would say and how I would say it, I thought of challenging you. I thought of coming up with some inspirational message, and I realized that would be a little bit presumptuous and a little bit preachy, and I don't want to be either, because preaching to you, it would certainly be like preaching to the choir, because all of you get it already. So by way of establishing Veteran of the Year President, I ask that you allow me a few brief moments to share a lesson or two that I have learned over the past 7 years working, having the honor to work with veterans in the Veterans Trauma Court and with professionals in the criminal justice system. I have learned far more from the veterans I have worked with than I could ever teach them. They have been exceptional, inspirational, and courageous. They are also fragile and damaged. They bear the wounds, both internal and external, of the service that they provided to their country. Most of them in combat, and way too many of them multiple deployments in combat. They all suffer external and internal wounds as a result of that service. And one of the things I learned early, that as a nation, as citizens, even as veterans, we tend to show a high regard for physical, tangible, and visible wounds, but still struggle with internal, intangible, and invisible wounds. They are difficult but not impossible to see, and so they sometimes frighten and confuse us because we don't know what to do about them. Too many of us still dismiss them, and some of them still deny they exist. I am here to tell you that they are real. Post-traumatic stress, military sexual trauma, moral injury, and survivor's guilt are not abstract clinical concepts or psychobabble rap. They are very real and just as debilitating, maybe more so, than the loss of a limb or a permanent physical scar. So I ask you to learn and inform yourselves. Arm yourselves with knowledge. You don't have to be a clinician to become trauma informed. And the more you learn, the more likely it is that you will see the signs that were always there. And the less likely you will be to dismiss or judge prematurely. I ask you all to look for the things that are not easily seen. The second lesson and these are personal lessons, I'm not preaching to you, and I'm only going to share 3. The second lesson is very closely related to the first, and that is that those most in need of help, of our assistance and our care and compassion, are the least likely to ask for it. So I ask you not to wait for them to come to you. Please go find them. They're everywhere. Next to you in church, walking down the aisle next to you in King Soopers, in the El Paso County Criminal Justice Center, 150 to 200 on any given day. And it isn't because law enforcement officials go looking for veterans to incarcerate. I have the greatest admiration and respect for the people that work in that facility. They are professional, many of them are veterans, and they care. They are just as concerned about finding a way to get veterans out of there as they are in getting them in there. Some of them are pushing pilfered grocery carts down South Nevada, and some of them are living under bridges in our community, not because they want to, because it is the only place they feel secure. Nobody can feel safe there. It's just easier to be there than it is to be out in the world. Commissioner Glenn mentioned, and I think in the invitation it stated that there are 98,000 of us in El Paso County. That is truly a compelling and impressive number. And what it means to me is that there are more than enough of us to take care of each other. But clearly it isn't that simple. So I ask you to offer yourselves to your fellow veterans. And when you ask someone how he or she is doing, ask with your heart and with your head, not just with your lips, and listen the same way. Not all answers are verbal. Listen for the things that are not easy to hear. And the last lesson that I learned the hard way, all the best lessons that I have learned, I've learned the hard way, is one that may be difficult for you to understand. This gathering is electric with type A personalities. You are all achievers. You have all found your place in the community and have served your fellow citizens. You are all intelligent and compassionate, and you understand way more than most do. So listen when I tell you, because it was difficult for me to accept this lesson too. It took me a long time to accept and understand that failure is an option, and it always will be. The most important things I have learned, as I said, I learned the hard way. There's no one here today who has not failed at something at some time. The pursuit of excellence is honorable. The pursuit of perfection is wasteful. So I ask you one last favor. I ask you to accept failure, to embrace failure, and to forgive failure. There is no greater friend than he or she who helps you up after you have stumbled. Be that friend to your fellow veterans. Be that friend to the veteran who struggles with depression and anxiety and self-medication. Help them to understand that there is no shame in failure. The only shame comes in not trying, and that they should never, ever, ever give up. So that's it. I've asked you to look for things you cannot see, to listen for things you cannot hear, and to accept and embrace and forgive failure. Pretty uninspirational, huh? And mostly counterintuitive. But I truly believe that if you can pull it off, any of these or all of them, you will make a difference, and your efforts will be rewarded by those you choose to mentor and assist. You will become a silent hero. And the silent heroes, in my mind, are the most effective and important kinds of heroes. And so I ask you two small last favors. Be selective and reverent in the use of that word, hero. I think sometimes there's a tendency to use it too quickly and in a lazy manner, not necessarily among veterans, but among those who want to honor us by calling us, by referring to us in that manner. Because if everyone is a hero, no one is a hero. And if everyone's a hero, how do we recognize those who have truly distinguished themselves by their actions and example? Not everyone who wears a uniform is a hero. and not every hero wears a uniform. We were all people first. And the last request I have of you is that every morning, Commander Chip referred to it, it stole a little bit of my thunder, which is probably not that hard to do, okay? But every morning when you wake up and you thank Providence or the Creator or whoever you thank for the blessing of the day, I ask you to remember the fourth principle of the warrior ethos. I ask you to never leave a fallen comrade. I thank you for this honor, Commissioner Glenn, distinguished guests, family members, and fellow veterans. Thank you. God bless you. God bless everyone, no exception. Thank you.
We've got it over on the side for you.